Good afternoon. Thank you for being here with us today. For those of you who want to know a little bit more about Suna and myself, Suna, can you please let them give a brief intro of who you are and where they can find you?
I'm going to put through the torture again. I actually, I have a website, sunasenman.com. It does need to be updated. So if you have trouble reaching me through the website, you can try a direct email. And that would be my name, Suna, S-U-N-A, at Suna, S-U-N-A, Senman, S-E-N-M-A-N.com. I'm also living in Sweden, and if anybody's in the area, I do direct work with them.
Yeah, some of our viewers are. We're getting more and more viewers from Sweden and France, especially southern France for some reason lately. And thank you, French guide, for changing my voice when I said France. And Switzerland and Germany. Yeah, interesting.
I was just in southern France, and that feels like a home, a really long-time home for me, and I will be going back there soon.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I actually studied at the School of Music in Munich, and I spent a good 2 years there living with my mom, in Germany, and it was amazing. I had a lot of Turkish friends at that time. I learned a lot in Germany. So
Turkish.
I got by speaking very little German. I think that's because Germans are so brilliant to know English as a second language. Yeah. So some of you who live there may have unintentionally met me somehow if you followed the operatic communities. So anyway, and I am Pamela Aaralyn. I have been a channel since around age 5. According to my parents, probably since birth, but I had my biggest awakening at age 5. You can find me at PamelaAaralyn.com, and you can also find me at Patreon.com. So those are 2 different areas, and you can see a lot of my works on YouTube. For those of you who don't know that, most of you probably do, but there's a lot to be found on YouTube as well. And in my spiritual communities on Facebook.com/Aura Reader, which is initially how I started out. I was coined as one of the main aura readers in the country because I can see energy in a unique way, and that causes for a lot of medical mediumship, which I love. A lot of people don't know that I do medical mediumship readings, but I do them almost daily for people because energy is fascinating to me, and helping people touches my heart. Suna does a lot of healing facilitation work as well, and she is amazing from the somatic perspective, connecting the mind, body, and spirit. That's just my perspective of her, is that she's an amazingly gifted, intelligent, grounded, trustworthy being. So if you need a good facilitator, you should look her up as well. Let's talk about this particular collective. You voted on it, and I like to honor your votes because it means that is what the collective of people who are out there that represent what I'm about. We're all here in these families together. When you vote upon something, it's important for me to try to honor it if I can get a good connection, and I did. Okay, so when I asked for the Lemurian sisterhood to come through, I got a series of 7 Pleiadian beings, and they call themselves the 7 sisters. This is who came through. Some of you may be familiar with this, some of you may not. They began to talk to me about the creation of the human species and the evolution of how that came about. You are welcome to put in the Ask a Question section any of those questions if Suna doesn't cover them, but I believe that she will. They talked about how we were seated. I began to ask some questions as a galactic historian because the Akasha is such a tricky thing, and there's a filter involved, right, with how we're seeing it. So they also told me about where we are now in our spiritual evolution and some interesting things about the Akasha and how it can be beneficial or detrimental. And I found that incredible. So you're welcome to ask about that. They talked about ceremonies and why we did them as women. They talked about birthing pains and things that we as women experience that men never will, and why we experienced it. They talked about so much, and I'm just giving you a general overview so that you will know kind of where to go in things that might be relevant to what they've already discussed with me over the past week while I've been connecting with them. And I talked a little bit about twin flames, but not much this time. They talked a lot about different paradigms. They talked a lot about womanly struggles, whether it be health struggles or emotional struggles. Survival as an empath and a light worker was heavy in the discussion and really relevant. The working through the Akasha and past lifetime modalities such as shamanism and regression, how it's relevant, how it isn't, how to work with the Akasha and how the Akasha can be detrimental and hold you back, disempowerment versus empowerment when working with the Akasha. There's so much about the Akasha, so please, please, please do ask me, just so you know. All right, I'm going to go into trance. That's what I do. I am a clear conscious channel, but I prefer to get out of the way. I'm out of here. We are the seven sisters of the seven Pleiadian star systems. We have seeded your planet with love, not with pain. Pain is a broken paradigm that we urge you to relinquish, for it no longer serves you. Contrast and creativity serves you as creators, as sisters. You are the Lemurian sisterhood. You are our children, our sisters, our family, and it has always been. Your story is beautiful. You may inquire within as you inquire with us, and we are ready to attend to your questions.
Thank you so much for joining us. We have many questions. I first want to ask you about this contrast and creativity that you just mentioned. Can you expand on that?
You have created many variations and deviations from the original creation story that is divine truth. We would like to remind you of the divine power of love from your original Pleiadian creation story. For within this reminder is a loving empowerment that helps you relinquish negative, fear-based codes of suffering that you no longer require. Many will sit with these stories and understand as if a light bulb of love has gone off in their minds and has arrived. But there is still an ignorance within awareness. There is no interference in divine reality from the standpoint of your original creation story. You are created in love, not pain. There is no negative extraterrestrial interference, negative angelic interference, negative, painful, disempowering, non-sentient extraterrestrial interference. These stories are created by you, and they are not in alignment with divine truths. You were created by the 7 sisters of the 7 star systems of the Pleiadians. There is not one that doesn't hold the loving, compassionate, empathetic codes of the Pleiadians. Not one amongst you. Yet you have forgotten. You are creating many stories, and while they are uniquely creative, they are stories of creative destruction. From the beginning, in your time on earth, nothing was true and is true but love. Love is the only truth. Anything that isn't love is but a creative story that you have conjured for purposes of your own contracts within your unique illusion. And you, like branches from the tree of love and life, have alchemized these stories, and now you believe that you are thwarted, that you are disillusioned, that you are disempowered. You learn and expand very destructively from these stories when you begin to believe that other non-sentient beings are destroying you, disempowering you, causing you to be stuck and lost and directionless. But that is not an original creation story from the divine truth and divine reality of love. We simply wish to remind you of the truth in your creation. We arrived upon your planet and breathed the breath of life into you. And you are gods. Gods of love, not gods of war. Gods of peace, not gods of destruction. Gods of compassion, not gods of selfishness. Please reclaim your birthright. When the 7 sisters arrived upon the planet Earth, we brought forth our DNA coding, and there were many various types of humans that we began to create. We created Lemurians. We created the soul groups of the Lyran felines and many of the races that were originally upon Earth. These were the original species of humans. We created the Syrians. We created from this line the Blue Avians. We created all of the extraterrestrial beings that you know in your galactic history advances and evolutions today. You evolved beautifully without negative interference. And there were many types of humans. Some had large heads, some had long tails and swam in waters in the deepest of oceans. Some were short, some were tall. But the issues that you struggle with today as light workers and sound workers, as women of the void, as women of the light, there is sound and there is light. And the stories that you create from these disempowered stories of interference, they no longer serve. We are complete in this answer.
Thank you. I then wonder why were there so many beings created? What was the desire with all the creation? And what are the daily healthy practices that you would advise for us?
There is no answer, sister, to your question of why. We did so to honor your loving choice to expand creatively with various choices of human will. And you have defined this as free will. You define certain concepts within karma, dharma, divine will, and from those creation standpoints birthed the evolution of various types of humans. We simply honored your choice to be beautiful and creative. That is all. And then within that expansion, you created destructive complications, but you still are highly enlightened within the unique facet of evolution. When fear transcends disempowerment states and is transmuted into love. There are various practices and DNA codes that come through your etheric nature that lie dormant within your bodies in the base of the spine, in the pineal gland in the brain, top of the head, bottom of the tailbone. These are active areas through which dormant DNA can become alive and can awaken etherically and heal your bodies through the natural state of evolution when you release disempowerment and fear. You do not have access to the foods that we had, even when food was still food, when food was not so modified within scientific genetics. But your creative belief systems caused this. We urge you for a moment with this question to go deeper within. Why do you believe that you need certain things to thrive and survive within healthy eating habits? As mediums, as empath, as you would call it, as the light worker, which is what we would call it, why do you believe that you need one thing over another and that you would not survive, much less thrive energetically, emotionally, or physically without such things that stem from death? Many of you believe that you still require in your evolution meat from the animals. And because of this belief, it becomes your truth and your illusion. And then you must honor such until one day you decide otherwise. Then you choose love over death-based eating. But we love you and we honor such beliefs. We are full of compassion. We outstretch our hands. We hold the space of love for this healing of your beliefs until one day soon you awaken and you believe in your own power and within the choice of the eating. But the foods currently, due to these negative destructive beliefs, have become such a bane of existence of pain. We offer today the gift of healing energies, of DNA upgrades, of awareness of love and the choice of love over fear, the choice of healthy eating habits which involve loving foods, not death-oriented foods that are derived from industrialized killing and slaughtering of massive groups of compassionate animals. We do not say this to shame you in your choices, for we love you always. And we provide the compassionate space of healing and acceptance through which you will hear this truth today and understand that as long as the energy of death enters your body, you begin to believe that death is real. If you eat from the energy of life, the photosynthesis involved in sun and plants and water, this level of eating and energetic maintenance of the body and the mind and the spirit will propel you into an evolution of love, not an evolution from death and destruction. Enlightenment can be loving, or it can be destructive. Which path of creators, dear sisters, do you choose? Sit for a moment with the song of your Lemurian ancestors and simply remember your divinity and how you used to create from these sounds, these tones, these songs. We bless you with our song today in order to allow the healing, loving call of the Lemurian sisterhood and of the 7 sisters of the 7 Pleiadian star systems. And you may have heard this song occasionally in your walkabouts on your beautiful planet. Follow the song in your heart, honor the call of the Pleiadian sisterhood, and you will return to what is true, and you will begin to release enlightenment from destruction and honor enlightenment from compassion. We are complete in our answer.
Thank you. You are very complete, and I think we still, some of us, have a hard time fully grasping, so that's why we continue to ask a few questions. I first want to thank you for your song. It's so beautiful. One of the questions that someone asked is there a Lemurian equivalent to the that we use here? And what would that be?
It was heard at the end of the song and the calling back to your divinity, and it is hum,
Hum.
hum.
Thank you.
I am you, you are me, me, hum.
That's the meaning of hum. I am you, you are me.
Yes.
So then, in living foods, as you talked about, I understand coming closest to the light, like the plants take in the light. But also if you fish your own food, or like Native Americans cut their own food, is that also living food?
If a being were to make its choice to relinquish its life in order to merge with you in the unique manner that the natives on your planet have taught, then this is a conscious choice and a contract between such a being and the human. And these contracts are creatively honored. Not the best, not the worst. Somewhere in the middle line consciousness, but not the highest choice either in love. We honor your choices regardless. It is not as low frequency of a choice as that of the industrialized meat industries, but it is not the highest choice as that of veganism, eating of the plants, raw, fresh, wholesome, roots of the earth, nuts and seeds, and fruits of the trees. And we, the Pleiadian Angelic Sisterhood, offer you the wisdom that the nuts and seeds and fruits of the trees, along with the root vegetables within your soils, are the highest choices in your frequency currently for healthy foods.
Thank you. There were some questions. I'm going to move on to the questions about pain. One of the questions was about the birthing pain. What is its origin, and how can we reprogram ourselves not to feel the pain?
Dear women and sisters, this comes through the nature of destructive creativity through the Akash. Does the Akash own you? Does it control you? Would you choose for it to disempower you by believing that pain should still exist? How would it serve you? How would it feel to know that you have lost children in other lives and in other parallel existences, for those of you who understand the greater grasp of time? How does it serve you to know that you have lost your children in stillborn nature? How does it serve you to know that you experienced pain in birth in other lives, or had children taken from you? And even deeper, for many of you have also been men, not always women, on battlefields. Does it serve you to know that you killed another woman and sister with your bare hands? What information serves you to know from your Akasha? You are the owner and creator of the Akash. The Akash in ancient times was provided to you for empowerment. But when you began to create stories that were destructive in your creative nature, you began to honor old paradigms And for the past century, and the one prior, you began to believe that the Akash could be used for healing purposes by remembering your pain. But in the new paradigm, these memories no longer serve you. Call back your power by being the owner and the creator of your own Akash. And when your Akash delivers a message to you that is painful, that no longer serves you, you may call back your power through the space of all time infinitum within the records of the Akash by saying, I call back my power. These stories are no longer mine. They are no longer relevant. They do not serve me. I erase these stories, for that is my power of God within. Do you understand now, dear sisters, our answer?
It sounds like you are asking us to take our power to be actively creative for what we want and not passively listen to old stories of things that...
And to create from old stories. Continually believing that those stories are following you and haunting you and disempowering you. Those stories are killing you. Erase them, please.
So then in the empty spaces, when we've erased those stories, how should we fill those empty spaces?
Why should you fill those empty spaces? It is beautiful to trust, to sit within in the power of stillness, to feel for once without the darkness and destruction of the stories that you have created, but to feel the stillness and the love that is within you without your own interference.
This is leading me into another question that was brought up about bringing harmony between the divine masculine and the feminine. Do you have some guidance for that?
There has always been harmony in the true stories, and we simply urge you to return to the truth of the unity and the love that has always been. You cannot seek the presence of another twin within your bodies without understanding that you are your own twin. You cannot seek answers from destruction when you fear the masculine, because you have not released such stories of disintegration and disempowerment and shame from divine masculine, stories that are not true. Start there. Erase these stories and create your own. Do so if you are afraid. Face your fear with love and hope and faith that it will be different in the newly arising stories of creation and love. You may say daily and look into a mirror. Upon doing so, look deeply into your own eyes and forgive yourselves for creating such stories, for this is the foundation of the compassion that will awaken your DNA. Look deeply into your own eyes. You are fearful that you have wasted time. You are fearful that you have wasted lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, none of which is true. In the higher realms, this goes by in an instant. Poof, gone. Do you see? 2 seconds could be 2,000 years of your cycles. It's gone. Create anew. Look in the mirror daily and say, I love you. I love you. I love you. 3 times. For the mind for the body, for the spirit. And then say, I create my own story of love, and this is my story today. Perhaps it is joy that you wish to feel. I create my own stories of joy, starting today, and today's story is... And then create something beautiful. I create my own story of stillness and trust. And this is my story for today. Here it is.
That's a wonderful, beautiful daily habit, you tell us, to say to myself, I love you, I love you, I love you, for your mind, your spirit, and your soul?
Body. You have begun to create the disillusioned story in your dreams that your body is the enemy to your spirit, that food is an enemy to your body, that the chemicals in the air are enemies to your body, that your governmental paradigms are enemies to your body. And all of the creation from these destructive creator stories are continuing and furthering a paradigm that simply isn't true. No longer serves you. Please hear us. We plead with you. Hear us.
I want to clarify. Are you saying that there really are no toxins?
That is indeed what we are saying.
So then, if, for example, our lungs react to molds and pollens, what is happening, or how do we...
We believe in our stories that we are unworthy to breathe the air of life and love. This is a personal belief. We believe at times as humans, sisters, that we can be destroyed by chemicals in our air and trails of such chemicals in our air, and then this becomes true. Those very personal beliefs can create such a reality, even though it is not true. It is an illusory reality. But the dream feels very real to your bodies. Create again. Begin again. Create fresh from a new creator's story of empowerment and love and trust.
And I think what I'm hearing is what you said is just to listen within and feel the love that's already there.
Quiet listening, heart listening. It does not come with so many distractions from your devices, from your paradigms, from your processes that you continue to punish yourselves with over and over with various painful healing processes. We call them destruction processes, for you feel you must heal by destroying something first. What if that were no longer true for you as a loving collective? You are entering a period where you stand collectively on the precipice of choice, fear, love. Choose wisely.
I have a couple of people asking about the use of crystals. And how did the Lemurian women use crystals? And can you just tell us something about the crystals and how we can use them?
This makes us incredibly joyful, for we have utilized tools of this manner, and the crystals are alive. There are cities of light, Atlantis, within certain types of crystals, remembrances from the positive Akash within other types of crystals, and you will see them if your imaginations are observing correctly within your beliefs. They can be seen with the physical eye. We are excited for you with the use of such tools to recreate flourishing kingdoms of Lemuria, not fallen kingdoms of Lemuria, that these crystals recreate their environments the more they are utilized within the grid systems that activate your bodies, the ley lines within your earth, the waters are cleansed in your oceans when you give back to Gaia. Your ceremonial rites of passage are returned to you through the use of such tools. And we are joyful and blissful that you have asked us of such.
These are some of the wonderful questions coming from the group. And it's as part of that, someone asked something about the ceremonies, the ritual work with others. Does that amplify the energy of the divine source?
If you are operating from true Pleiadian and Lemurian sisterhood rituals of the Sophia, of the Isis cult, during the days when your languaging of the word cult were positive, and when cult meant family, loving, safe harbor. Yes, these rituals call for a return to the loving DNA through which you were created. And you remember the call of the ancients that was given to you today through such a channel.
So how
use the power of song, the tools that Gaia has provided to you with her crystals, the healing touch of your hands, and the alchemy of all of the elements, for these are the gifts that come through the Sophia, the ancients, the lion people, and the sisters of the Hyadians and Pascats, through which this specific channel arises and gives to you today in her clarity.
Thank you. We were wondering also how many of us on Earth are awakening and carrying the Lemurian DNA codes, and
all of you.
All of us. Is there
not one is bereft of such DNA? It is the foundation of all that was created. Even your non-sentient races were created from the belief that something can be separate and non. But it began with and all and one.
So is there any, the gathering of people doing these kind of rituals into certain places on the earth, does that have any significance?
Aye, these are the activators of your planet.
Okay.
And they are heeding the call correctly from within. They are to place their feet in the soils of Gaia and heal such lands, releasing such beliefs collectively that no longer serve, returning to the powerful beliefs of oneness that originally were upon your grand soils. The activators are vital, and the time is necessary for more awakenings of activators and catalysts as you evolve from love and return to the original creation plan that is true, not the illusory creation plan where you, again, believe that you are thwarted, interfered with. None of that was ever true. You are a galactic library of love.
That's so beautiful, a galactic library of love. I just feel that there's a perfection in what is from that.
Then you, dear sister, are perfect to facilitate this channeling.
Thank you.
And perfect to share these messages and to touch many lives. And we are positive that you will.
It's beautiful to hear. And there are, like you said, still people who are holding on to memories that aren't needed, Akashic records that aren't needed. I'm getting some feedback here. I'm sorry. And are still living in illusions. So the activators are here to help awaken them. Are there any? There is free will as well. So what kind of guidance do you have for us to be more effective?
When you call forth your breath in a manner that returns to oneness, and you forgive all belief systems that are negative and fearful, whether you have created from them or not, this is helpful in your role as an activator, dear ones. Requires such forgiveness. There is a degree where one is awakened, yet one still may not be aware. And even such, there is a place of ignorance within beginning stages of awareness, wherein one begins to honor truths when you believe that they are truths, when you are creating from destruction. But these beliefs require forgiveness. They require trust to let them go. For you know nothing but. And humans are known to do and believe and operate within only what they know. For you fear what you do not know. And this becomes a place of stillness that you have observed as evil, as dark, as bad, as isolation. But it is not true. For when you face the stillness, when you walk through the void, when you love the shadows within you, you grasp the divine nature of love, no matter the illusory creations, no matter the time, no matter the beliefs in separation.
It's interesting because I have experienced with my clients that they hold on to pain or illness or something that is the body wanting to speak, wanting to express something. And often it is an illusion, a memory, or a past trauma that maybe even was in their ancestry that they didn't know about, but that it wants to be heard and then it's released.
If that were true, then it would be released instantaneously.
Yeah.
The concern is that once you believe that memory is true, you perpetuate it into your now. You begin to create your future with it. If it were true that the paradigm of acceptance of something evil and negative could heal you, then it would be so in that moment. And we have not observed that it is so in that moment. What we are observing is that you are holding forth this negative belief as a crutch, which is devastating in your creation, because then you begin to seek out the same belief in others and to connect through your sympathies and through your wounds, which is destructive and creates more perpetual, ongoing, cyclical habits of pain. It does not serve you to recollect pain. You are in a higher paradigm. Many who are listening today are in a higher paradigm, and the moment you hear this truth, if you are ready, you will cease going backwards and stand here Now, in an empty stillness, a release of all stories, a call to the breath of life from the sound, from the light, from the current of sound of your creation.
I'm going to ask a little more about this, because then isn't it important then to identify or to let come to surface what illusions or stories we're holding on to in order to let them go?
When you believe that that is so, it becomes your creation. If you were to let them go upon the recognition of such a present negative state, then this would be true, but you are not. You create from such. For even though love supersedes the illusion of fear, the frequencies are just as powerful in what you have created. The illusion is just as tempting in its karmic destructive patterns as would be the truth, the love, the oneness, the stillness that your ego teaches you to fear. We do not advise you in one way or another in the choice in your modalities. We simply are offering the observation that it is not working any longer.
So you're saying that healing is not really working any longer.
You will create a different story that is similar, perhaps another lifetime, perhaps a childhood moment, perhaps a moment in a recent relationship that did not go to your liking. You will create more and more and more from the destructive stories of egoic creation and death. All you need is one wound, one small memory to believe that you are that, and you create from that. Not that such a creation is bad, but it does cause the pain. And you asked us why the pain is here, and that is why the pain is here. If you wish to create from pain, we will not thwart you in such. We love you. We will not interfere in your suffering. But we simply wish to remind you that there is another way, a newer, higher dimensional paradigm of healing. And that is all.
So I'm going to ask another question that was from one of our members here. That is, if you could help or give a message to mothers who are raising children who do not fit into the boxes of this world, that is full of this fear and, like you said, the pain that we keep perpetuating. Can you guide mothers and our higher healing that you talk about?
Listen to your hearts. This channel is not above the unique specific lesson that you mention. And the answer is always here. Find and seek out unique physical education, mental education, spiritual education, all are relevant when you are using this tool and temple of the body. Find the unique, more positive, open in mind, loving in spirit, healthy and freedom within the body. Find the educational systems that arise that can cause nourishment for your child. And do not accept anything less. You know your answers.
Then I'm going to ask you how we deal with the government and the legal requirements to keep our children in schools and other legal and government rules.
Join together in unity, mothers and sisters of this planet, and create new educational systems together that serve these children. that allow them to teach you, that allow them to teach themselves. There are various systems in place in other countries, such as Finland, Russia. There is a divine channel by the name of Anna who purports and supports such educational systems. And she is a Pleiadian ambassador, bringing forth Pleiadian educational paradigms that are of very high frequency, that are open, liberating, loving. Follow this ambassador and you will have your answers about what to do. You must create higher dimensional systems. If you must leave employment paradigms that are negative, that no longer serve you, in order to educate your own children, then you must do so as well. Perhaps forming unique, independent communities in your lands, in your vicinities, and switching off roles if there must be a nature of work that is required for the abundance of your families, then one such mother can rotate and hold the role of teacher while another works, and then there is a switch of roles during various times of the weeks and months and years. Please think outside of your boxes. Create.
We wanted to ask you about Anna. Is that Anna Merkaba?
One of two.
Say that again?
One of two.
Can you give us the exact name to reach this Anna, these Annas?
She is the only one within the country of Russia, and that should be succinct enough.
Anna in Russia.
And she is bringing forth these teachings throughout the United States and needs and is seeking teachers and mothers to bring her teachings to your country. She is willing to travel to teach you.
Okay. Thank you. I think there was some questions about if illness is manifest because of an error in our thinking.
Why do you believe that you have missed the mark and that there must be something true in the word error? Does that answer your question? Illness is a call for love. It is a call for stillness. And only you know the unique way that your body and your mind calls for love. But you must honor the call. Perhaps your call is to seek a destructive nature of employment, or a destructive nature in a relationship, or a destructive nature in your eating. But it is a call to release destruction and to honor something more nurturing and loving. But it does not mean that you are wrong or in error. You are love.
I want to ask if there's anything else you'd like to share with us at this time. And then I'm going to ask everyone else if they have any last questions, because it's been about an hour. But
we believe that we have been clear in the knowledge and the return to the ancients. We advise you to join together as beloved women, as divine sisters, to release judgments that separate you from each other, to trust each other more, to love each other more, to join and create communities of education, communities of healthy eating, communities of spiritual development, intentional communities of love and support and of oneness, where you are on the precipice of a greater spiritual awakening. We are complete in our message.
thank you so very, very much. And I think we have received your complete message, and would love to have Pamela back with us. Thank you so much. Blessings to you, Pamela, for you give so much of yourself, your openness.
Thank you. How are the messages?
Really beautiful. And I don't know if you see, I've got to put my glasses on to see. Excellent communications, amazing, blown away with the class. You can read them. This is
good.
Yeah.
Good.
How are you physically feeling? That's what I'd like to know.
Really good. You know, I was having some problems with breathing prior to this channeling, and probably from with the allergies, which invoke so much asthma at times for me, and I don't really feel that right now, so that's a good thing.
I think. Were you aware of what was said?
No, not yet. I never remember anything when I'm in trance. It kind of comes later. I feel emotions and energy after a trance channeling, and I get a lot of healing from them. They're very healing for me. So I feel like there's a lot of phlegm that's wanting to come up from the asthma and inflammation in my lungs and throat right now. So,
you'll get a lot from this because it was a lot of that, and I was really asking from my heart throughout the time to help you with the asthma.
Yeah, I'm feeling your prayers, and thank you for that. And I know that there's, my loved ones are sending prayers for it. It's just the time of the year, and especially having moved to a new location, like, there's mulberry trees. So that's really interesting, but I'm feeling a lot better. I wanted to remind you guys on tomorrow, we have a remake of a class that we didn't do yesterday because my school called and my daughter had to come home sick, so I couldn't get a sitter in enough advance notice. So we're going to be doing that class, which is it's a tier 2 class called the Melchizedek Hand 101, Foundations of Angelic Medical Healing Techniques. And it is a really good technique that's taught by some of the angelics. So I like that a lot. It's good for physical and mental healing. So that's really, really good. I'll be teaching that tomorrow at 1 p.m. We have the Shamanic Journey, which is a tier 2 journey. I don't know the intention yet because intentions don't come until the last moment normally, but we're going to be working with the elements presented to us. So that I'm an elemental shaman, so I work with water and fire and smoke, wood, ether, metal, water, sun, everything. So whatever elements come in and whatever intentions come in, I'll probably know, a couple days in advance, but I don't know it yet. That's coming up on Monday. This Monday, May 14th at 11 a.m., not 1 p.m. There's a reason that I had to change it to 11 that involves my daughter's unique educational shifts and changes because the last school didn't work out for her. So we put her in a more open school. So that's shifting. So I had to make some changes. 11 a.m. on Monday for the Shamanic Journey, not 1 p.m. Thursday, May 17th, we have a tier 2 class at your suggestion, and it's called The Rainbow Body, a Tibetan Exploration of Ascension by Activating Crystalline DNA. That's a really, 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 really powerful class that I haven't had the chance to teach before to you. So it is brand new material. And then on June the 1st, we have the Empowered Abundance class, which teaches you how to let go of some of the beliefs that are causing like what you believe are blocks and abundance blocks and fears, and getting rid of all the beliefs and learning how to create an abundant future. It is a very powerful class with brand new material as well that I haven't taught to anyone. It's on PamelaAaralyn.com right there under the new live classes section. That's coming up on June 1st. So I advise you to hold your spot in that because it's a powerful, popular class. And I did teach it maybe a few years ago. For those of you who have followed me a while, I taught it on Spreecast, one of the first webinar systems. And it was really, really good. And we got a lot of people. We sold out. So, and we're going to probably get there again. So I'm just letting you know that I feel that this class is going to be abundant in its nature and full. So you better hold your spot while you still have it. And that's all that I have to say for now. I will see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. And Suna, can you please remind people of where to find you for healing facilitations as well?
Yeah, if you're in Stockholm, I'm bookable through yogamana.se. And also, I think it's best to contact me through my email, Suna, S-U-N-A, at sunasenman.com. And I can make an arrangement to do something also through the internet as well.
Okay, awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Suna, for being here and for doing this for me. I always, always appreciate you. You're just amazing. You're an amazing facilitator and a wonderful woman. And I'm just bowing to your wisdom and very grateful for you.
Love you.
I love you too. I will see you all later. I love you. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you tomorrow at 1 for the class. Bye.